Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Emily, and we are the Conscious Collaboration Podcast. What up, Lisa?
Oh, what up, Emily? I like that song.
What up, audience? I know I did kind of like sing that a little bit, didn't I?
We should redo our intro with that song.
We've been doing a lot of singing lately, I feel like.
Yep, every episode.
Maybe we should record an album.
Ooh, yeah. Yep, a mix.
Drops in 2024.
Why not? Some binaural beat.
We could record a podcast though.
Let's do it.
So I think that's why we showed up today.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm here. Mic check.
Yeah. So what we were kicking around, because we like to just do life for a week and then come back and like sit in front of the microphone and kind of, relate what's been going on to a hopefully useful podcast topic for the peeps, right? So this one, I think it can be applied to all sorts of areas of life. Certainly in business, in personal life, you can have the two intermixed, right? But we're just talking about those times when it seems like the world around you is just saturated in drama. That could mean a million different things. And when the collective energy seems off, or something's going on in your particular universe of people, and you go into work or you go into your situations and it just seems like everybody is kind of trying to, whether it's purposeful or not, kind of trying to pull you into that lower vibration, into the drama, into the gossip, into whatever is going on. So we wanted to talk about how we stay above the fray in that sort of situation. And of course, as we do, we like to kind of look at tarot sometimes and relate certain energies of the tarot to whatever we're talking about. So, the energy that we kind of decided would be the most helpful here would be that King of Swords energy. Swords being the suit that deals with the element of air, that deals with thought, wit, intellect, and basically taking this energy of evolved emotions and level-headedness into even the toughest situations, the ones that can trigger you and make you want to just, fight fire with fire or get back in the mud and which might feel good or satisfying in that moment. But generally speaking, when we take that route and we agree to go back down in the mud, the outcome tends to be not really what we would have wanted it to be.
Yeah, so, it doesn't feel good.
Right. So as a self-developing and healing, self-aware person, I think most of us on that part of the journey can agree that like getting involved in the drama is bad, is not the ideal situation. So we're going to talk about like how even in the most triggering of situations do we, I used this phrase the other day, basically Michelle Obama the shit out of it, When they go low, we go high. When the situation is very low, as tempting as it might be, we're just going to stay right up here, above the
Mhm.
fray, below the radar.
Mhm. Yeah, this is a really pertinent topic to me. I very rarely get triggered. I like to try to be as stoic as I can, especially in working with feng shui and energy work. It's important that I'm balanced when I'm showing up in day to day everything and in front of my children too, because I want them to look to me and trust me and feel safe and secure. So, as much as I can be stable and even keeled and just optimistic is, as beneficial as possible. But I did feel in the past week at one point a little triggered.
Mhm, mhm,
On an interpersonal level, I was talking with friends and I felt a little triggered about we always talk about discernment. So
mhm,
before I allow anyone into my circle, before I allow anyone into collaborating with me, I'm discerning of is this a good, healthy relationship? Is this a good work partnership? And I felt a little triggered by someone, which, we know we're always self-studying and conscious and aware that there's always something to be learned when you're triggered by someone. So I felt like in an energy of being protective of one of my friends.
mhm,
And that, really, almost took a turn of where it could have gotten into the fray, into the mix of
mhm,
like letting something snowball into something greater than what it should be. Um,
mhm,
so I found it really interesting, just, and so much about tarot, and I think that's really helpful. I think it's helpful to have images or symbols and representations that communicate a
mhm,
value that we can, easily model to or exude in certain situations. So that, like, you're talking about the suite of swords being that intellect and, inner knowing and knowledge and
truth, mhm,
thoughts and truth. And the King of Swords, just learning a little bit about it from you and a little bit of Google and some of my friends that do tarot, it's that's a really impressive card image to me. I think it's something that I
mhm,
aspire to be in
mhm,
any day-to-day interaction. The King of Swords looks really, his gaze is always really soft and he has like a slight smile, but it's not overly, and not all cards he's smiling, but if he is, it's like a
mhm,
slight smile. It's not an over exalting smile. It's not like I've had a bunch of wine and I'm, in this supreme joy, but it's
mhm,
like this it's like you can tell that he's peaceful, he's at peace, and he's, stable and protecting and like a guiding image, um,
mhm,
and he's looking like I said, in the pre-chat, I was trying to learn about the different images, and, I noticed that he's looking straight on, like over his kingdom.
mhm.
Um
Yeah, that bird's eye view, and um we kind of talk about like rising above emotions, even the more positive ones, and this kind of came up in our pre-chat I Ching reading too. Like obviously, we're always constantly talking about bringing infusing joy into our lives, which we still want to do, but joy is also an emotion that could overtake you in a sense. I mean, you could get caught up in self-indulgence, and it's still an emotion that all emotions need to be managed, not suppressed, but managed. So the King of Swords energy, he's not cold, he's not devoid of emotions at all, but he's just very level, very
Mhm.
balanced. He's still, kind of remains above the situation, at all times as more of an observer than, I mean, you participate in feeling the emotions. You do,
Mhm.
but you just don't let yourself go below the surface and be overtaken by them. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the King of Swords vibe. And that, like, you know, you can bring that down to a practical level. Just, I mean, you could probably take any, you know, close to you work or social or mixed situation and kind of think of something that you could apply this to. But like, so say you've been doing the work, right, on yourself, and you've gotten to a place where you're nice and level most of the time. You're able to, you know, put head over heart when need be, and vice versa when need be. You can lead with your heart, but still, you know, not manage to um be overtaken by it and have all your energy sucked out. Well, people who are having a hard time getting to that place of peace and level-headedness and balance are actually gonna a lot of times be triggered by your calmness,
Mhm.
by your cool, calm, and collectiveness. And you know, even if you're doing absolutely nothing wrong, like, the tendency might be to try to go even harder, double down, and really pull you back into that situation. And a lot of times it'll be involved with people or situations that are very triggering for you. And you know, they might know that, even if they're not coming from a malicious point of view. Like, you know, if you are, you know, you've been on a healing journey or whatever, like, you can expect to be tested and tested and
Right.
tested. And
Mhm.
especially in times like this, where, you know, they're really going to throw at you like the kitchen sink. And it's like, all right, how are we going to handle this now? Are we going to fly off the handle, or are we going to King of Swords it and just kind of like, all right, you know, like, let me just observe, let me listen to what you're saying to me here, and you know, really contemplate the best way forward, as opposed to getting reactive, overly passionate, and, you know, just getting on back into the drama.
Yeah, I like how you said earlier too. It's, you know, it's having emotion, but having control over your emotions.
Mhm.
Or yeah, you know, so it's almost
Managing them. Yeah.
managing, having some
Not
balance in that.
allowing them to manage you.
Right, exactly. And everyone gets to a place where at some point they're going to be tested. There's going to be something that's triggering. And what is it about the King of Swords that we can emulate to you know, to get to that place where, you know, steering it back? I think in my own personal example recently, you know, I caught myself feeling like, you know, in my body I felt a little triggered, you know, where you get like,
Mhm.
you know, the hair stands up at the back of your neck. And I felt, you know, my voice getting constricted or elevated. And I was like, oh, you know, it's not really my intention for this conversation to go this way. And for me, it was really I just had to keep my mouth shut for a minute and breathe,
Mhm.
and really just enjoy, like, presently. I can't control the
Yep.
future outcomes of anything, but really focusing in on the present. And although I'm wildly protective of my friends and my inner circle, everyone is responsible for their own choices,
Yeah.
and decisions that they make.
Well, and King of Swords, although he has emotions, reverts back to logic
Mhm.
in these situations. Okay, what are the facts here?
Right, right.
You know, instead of, oh my God, this and this person said this, and what if you
Right.
know, what if it's this, and what if it's this, and what if it's this, and should I go do this? Should I go do that? Like, slow it down, pop it down. What are the facts here?
Right.
And he brings it back to logic and truth. What
Mhm.
is the truth of this situation? What do I know?
Right.
And then where do we go from there?
I think also just having that appreciation. So, like, pausing, assessing the situation. No one is in any immediate danger. It doesn't feel good. Like you said, Michelle Obamaing, you're not, it's not going to feel good to sink lower, to participate in gossip or to get, to retaliate. What I think is beneficial in terms of like parenting and in talking with friends as well too, is if you're in a place where you're communicating is in that presence, you're keeping positive in reinforcing what you see in your children or in your business partners or friends, their strength. So, like we were talking about in power versus force, it's not like we can say in a way like, oh, Emily, you're so strong, that you would know the right thing to do. Saying that is going to feel demeaning versus, just having that inner trust and exhibiting that like, okay, I'm just going to let this go. I don't know. I kind of went
knowing how to pick your battles.
Yeah.
And I think it's really a lot about just like showing up in the truth, in authenticity, and holding that as your main priority in any given situation. He's strong, and the King of Swords, I think knows the difference between power versus force, because the King of Swords is he's a fucking king. He's a powerful king.
Yeah.
And because he's able to maintain his composure and not fly off the handle, he can keep that power because he doesn't have to go around going, well, I'm the strongest king. I'm the strongest king. Like, no. If he's going to do something, if he's going to, inflict a punishment or whatever, it just, he speaks it and then he just does it.
Right. I mean, to that point, it's
not
like
a bunch of pomp and circumstance.
Yeah. Say what you think and mean what you say, and that's it. It's not like you repeat it like on a wheel, like thinking that each time you say it, it's going to change or make any difference. It's kind of just speak your mind and then
holding on to that idea. We're basically saying it earlier. Hold that idea, being strong in your sense of neutrality and not being attached to particular outcomes of situations, is also being, an ally of the truth, you could say, because if you're busy holding on to an outcome that you don't have control over, and clearly, it's not panning out that way, you're not in the truth.
Right. It's giving it more power.
Accept what is. If you are refusing to accept what is, you are not in the truth.
Yeah.
So you can't find that balance as long as you're not neutral, as long as you're holding on to some idea of what you think the situation should be.
Yeah. We're talking a lot about being able to exhibit the energy of the King of Swords in any situation where you might feel triggered or threatened or, challenged. What about looking for the King of Swords people in your circle and the value of that?
Well, there's like this saying, like, real recognize real. I think you're just automatically attracted to that and repelled. Both King and Queen of Swords are repelled from bullshit. Like, you're not going to come up to them and be the snake oil salesman. They'll, off with your head, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So, that's that discernment. Yeah. And just not, it's truth.
Yeah. There just seems to be, and I very rarely get sucked into what's happening in world news or, I'm so busy with work and kids and podcasting and all of that I don't really get sucked into it too much, but the people around me do.
Yep.
And it really snowballs. It really gets under their skin.
Oh
It comes
gosh.
up in conversation. It kind of like derails what could be a really fun lunch conversation
Yeah.
or
I
session.
used to be that way.
Yeah.
I used to religiously watch the news every night and think that it was my duty to do so and to know everything that was going on at all times. And at first, it was a less intentional detachment, but once I realized how much better my quality of life was, even though maybe like people would start talking about something and initially I might not know what they're talking about, I I, I didn't care. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
this is so much better. Like not because I just have, especially for a person who is air element dominant and, you know, has such strong thinking power, like once I engage my energy with all that stuff, then I'm going to let it take up, you know, real estate in my mind rent free.
Yeah.
And it's going to derail me from actually having an impact on the things that I can have an impact on for fear that I can't fix everything, I'm fixing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and that's not king energy, that's not royal energy at all. That's just frantic and frazzled and being attached and uh, you know um and I thought I should or would feel guilty for detaching like that, but I don't at all because I see how much more productive and effective I can be when I'm not engaged with all of that all the time. And then of course, I got a couple of friends who still are, and if there's something like massively like like crazy happening in the world, either you and I'll figure it out by the memes that we're seeing on
Eventually it'll
Instagram.
hit Instagram.
Like,
Yeah.
is there something about a submarine or what's going on? Like, what is all this stuff I keep seeing about the submarines kind of thing? Or, I'll have a friend who'll be like, yo, you might want to know that like XYZ. I know you're not really paying attention. So it's like,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can like I used to be the person for whom it would guide the lunch conversation, and now I'm just like, I kind of, I'll kind of trail off and entertain myself some other way if the conversation turns that way now.
Yeah.
Because
I
I just
think
know myself, and I know I can still be triggered by that stuff. Like, somebody can say something about an issue I really used to be involved in, and I'll be like, oh, I really want to get in on this one, but I just
Mhm.
like, nope, nope, just nope.
Yeah. You get back to
Keep
your
the eyes on the prize. I am affecting the world in other ways. This just detracts from that. So,
It does. Yeah. It's like that whole air sign. And, for those of you listening that aren't into tarot, but there is some value in that because I like the dynamic of the air sign and thoughts and inner world. There is that extreme and there is kind of like, there's that balance. And I don't know if that comes with like the Libra side of it. So, there is that balance between being the dreamer and then being the intellect.
mhm.
And I think they're both really important. You don't want to be too much one or the other. Without the ability to dream, probably wouldn't be very many entrepreneurs starting or creating. But without the intellect, would they be sustainable? Um, and then in circumstances such as, well, entrepreneurship first, it's a roller coaster. So things are always changing. The environment's always changing around us. We do have to have somewhat of an awareness to be able to adapt and survive, but to be able to stay in that optimism that we talk about, that alignment, to make sure that we're attracting positivity, not getting distracted or pulled into negativity, that can really snowball. I think it's and a good lesson for me to aspire to be a little more balanced and stoic in anything, any kind of practice. It's my tendency to get into like the playing and like the big ideas. I'm good implementing, but there's a lot to be said for bringing there a balance. So there's not that pendulum swing in either way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the more extreme you go in one direction, the more extreme it's going to swing back in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. The cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm.
So much to be learned from the King of Swords. I like it. He looks like a cool guy to hang around.
He does. He's not going to bullshit you.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to use car salesman you.
Going to say it one strongly. There's going to be backed up by intellect and fact.
Mm-hmm.
I think you used the word earlier, rational. And just,
but also because they're not devoid of emotions, and because, I mean, what is intellect so closely connected to wit, right?
Yeah.
It can be funny. Yeah. King of Swords can be funny. He can find humor in situations that, might otherwise be very serious.
Mm-hmm. Like, look at all these people in my kingdom just running amok.
Well, I mean, not making fun of these people. Like, I don't think that's a very good leader, but just able to make lighter of heavy situations. I think is a good little characteristic of finding that balance as well.
What can we take away today going into the next week as we are slaying any dragons? Anything
I'm keeping the dragon. I'm not killing any dragons.
Save the dragons.
I'm keeping the. If I find a fucking dragon, yeah, I ain't slaying it. I'll be like,
yeah, they're cute.
Oh yeah, come with me. If you find one, let me know. But yes, I think Michelle Obama is our takeaway. Is my takeaway.
Yeah. When in doubt.
When they go low, we go high. I think that's one of the most brilliant things ever said, personally, but I'm a little biased. But I think that's a great guideline. When you look around and it just seems like everybody's low and everybody wants you to get down there with them, be like, no, I'm gonna be up here in the air. If you want to join me and sit next to me and be cool, we can be cool. But that is it. That is the King of Swords is cool. Just be cool.
Yeah. I mean, when you start to feel that, you start to feel that like urge in your body, that you start to feel like you're getting elevated or irritated in any way. It's kind of like picture the King of Swords / Michelle Obama.
Being cool.
Yeah.
I wonder when Michelle Obama's birthday is.
Let's look it up. Google.
I'm doing it.
All right, do it.
I'm doing it. You think she's a Libra?
Oh, God.
What do we think?
Sagittarius? When is she going to be on the podcast?
Oh, she's the Capricorn. Yeah, that makes sense. Steady as she goes.
But, there's a lot of justice in that too, right? Following the rule.
Reliability for sure.
Reliability.
Yeah.
And
just like unrelenting workhorse, basically. Bad bitch energy.
Yeah. I like it. That's my inspiration for this week and going forward.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Emily. I like this.
Thank you. And thanks, Michelle.
Yes, and thanks to Michelle for being our King of Swords female version.
And if Michelle Obama is listening, I'll
she's
probably
invited.
pee myself. But if she is, yeah, she should come and be on the show.
Shout out.
Holler at me, Michelle.
Come join us inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective on Facebook.
Yes.
Connect with us via the link in our description.
Yes.
Well, thanks for showing up. It's been fun. I feel good about the topic. I'm going to exude and King of Swords energy. And I
just walk into every room and announce, I am the King of Swords. And then say, that's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. There you go.
Oh, one day.
Yeah.
All right, Emily.
All right, Lisa.
I will talk to you in 5.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.